Welcome to the Daily History Podcast, where we peel back the layers of time to reveal the stories that shaped our world. Today's episode, The Invention of the Printing Press, How Gutenberg Changed the World. Join us as we explore the remarkable tale of the tool that revolutionized communication and knowledge sharing across the globe. We transport ourselves to the 15th century, a period teeming with change yet rooted in tradition. It's an era where the written word is power, each manuscript a treasure, painstakingly inked by hand. The process is neither swift nor simple, but the result is a work of art, rich with the human touch. The scribes, often monks secluded in monasteries, are the guardians of knowledge. Each book they copy is an echo from the past reaching far into the future. These manuscripts, from religious texts to classical works, are all made one letter at a time, making them exceedingly rare and valuable. Yet, this practice of manual copying is fraught with challenges. Not only is it time-consuming, but it's also prone to errors. Imagine a world where a single book takes months, even years, to produce, and the replication of knowledge is limited to the few who can both afford and access these handwritten gems. In this time of painstaking replication, a whisper of transformation begins. It travels with the wind of innovation, brewing a storm that will soon sweep across continents. And at its heart is an idea, one that will turn the tides of communication and knowledge dissemination forever. Venturing deeper into the origins of the movable type printing press takes us to the early life of its inventor, Johannes Gutenberg, born around 1400 in the German city of Mainz. Gutenberg's childhood environment, rich in the tradition of metalworking, surely influenced his future endeavors. As a young man, he was drawn to the art and learned the trade of goldsmithing, which laid the foundation for his technical skills in metals. Possessing an inventive spirit, Gutenberg was on a quest to improve the efficiency of printing. He recognized the high demand for books and the painstaking, time-consuming process of hand-copying texts. Combining his metalworking expertise with this need for more accessible printing, Gutenberg began experimenting. By the 1430s, his experiments gave birth to an innovative idea, movable type. This entailed the creation of individual metal letters and characters that could be arranged and rearranged to form words and sentences on a page. Gutenberg's revolutionary approach came from the use of alloys and matrices, allowing for the mass production of these types. This innovation not only accelerated the printing process, but also made it more economically viable. The significance of Gutenberg's invention cannot be overstated, as it paved the way for an era of mass communication and the dissemination of knowledge, ultimately shaping the course of history. Each letter and word set by Gutenberg's press signaled the dawning of a new epoch, the time of the printed word. The movable type printing press, an innovation of the mid-15th century, brought about a seismic shift in how information was disseminated, marking the beginning of the printing revolution. At the heart of this revolution was the technical marvel crafted by Johannes Gutenberg, a machine that could rearrange individual letters and characters on a page. This system used metal type pieces, which could be set into frames to form words and sentences, then coated with ink and pressed onto paper. The genius of this design was its reusability. The type could be rearranged and used repeatedly, a stark contrast to the wooden blocks of prior printing methods, which were carved for a single use and lacked versatility. Prior to Gutenberg's press, books were mostly reproduced either by hand or using block printing. Hand copying was laborious and time-consuming, which made books expensive and rare. Block printing, which had been used in Asia for centuries, involved carving the entirety of a page onto a wood block, inking it, and then pressing paper against it. While this method was somewhat efficient in producing multiple copies, it was not suitable for the European alphabetic scripts, as carving out individual letters for different texts required an impractical amount of blocks and labor. In an instant, the printing press transformed the landscape of mass communication and literacy. Printed materials could be produced faster and in greater numbers than ever before. This led to a significant drop in the cost of books, making them more accessible to the common people and not just the elite. Soon, the spread of literacy burgeoned, as reading was no longer a skill reserved for the wealthy or the clergy. Texts on a variety of subjects became available, contributing to an atmosphere where ideas and knowledge could be shared and debated freely among a broader spectrum of society. This rapid availability of information has been seen by many as a catalyst for the Renaissance and contributed to the widespread educational reforms that followed. As the dawn of the Renaissance broke over Europe, the printing press emerged as a beacon of enlightenment, rapidly disseminating its technological glow from Mainz, Germany, to cities far and wide. By the end of the 15th century, over 200 cities in Europe boasted printing workshops, igniting a cultural wildfire that would forever alter the landscape of the continent. With the steady beat of the printing press, a symphony of ideas resounded, touching every sphere of life. The Renaissance, a rebirth of learning and discovery, owed much to the mechanical marvel of Gutenberg. Scholars and artisans now shared their findings and creations far beyond their local confines, spurring a flourish in the arts and sciences that still echoes through time. The written word, once the guarded treasure of the few, became the common patrimony of the many. But the story of the press is not just one of art and intellect. It's also a tale of faith and power. As the Protestant Reformation took hold, religious texts, including the Bible, were printed and placed in the hands of the people, challenging the absolute authority of the Church. Leaders like Martin Luther harnessed the press's might, spreading their reformist texts like wildfire throughout Europe, planting the seeds of religious tolerance and personal faith. The printing press was the vessel through which the new tide of thought and religious belief reached every corner of Europe. It democratized knowledge, expanded literacy, and sowed the early seeds of the information age. The churn of its cogs and the press of its plates were the heralds of a new chapter in human history, one where ideas transcended borders and where the word became, indeed, mightier than the sword. The introduction of the printing press to society wasn't just about distributing texts. It was a turning point in the way economies functioned. The relatively rapid reproduction of literature led to the rise of a burgeoning book trade. Prior to Gutenberg, books were rare and valuable commodities due to the intensive labor required to create just one copy. After the press, literature became more abundant, leading to increased demand and a new industry thriving on the production and sale of books. This economic shift had profound societal impacts, particularly in literacy and education. The availability of printed materials resulted in a notable rise in literacy rates across Europe as books became more accessible to a wider audience. The cost of obtaining reading material dropped significantly, allowing the general populace to engage with texts that had been previously reserved for the elite. Education institutions began to flourish under this new reality, as there was a greater need for learned individuals who could interpret and share the knowledge contained within the printed pages. Parallel to economic and educational shifts was the rise of national identities, in part fostered by the proliferation of vernacular languages in print. Before the printing press, Latin was the lingua franca of the educated and the church. However, the press made it feasible to produce books in local languages, thus promoting and preserving diverse linguistic traditions and cultures. National epics, poetry, and literature printed in these mother tongues strengthened cultural bonds and contributed to a sense of national consciousness. It's remarkable to consider that Gutenberg's press, a confluence of ink and movable type, would leave such indelible marks not only on the economy, but on the very fabric that holds societies together: language, culture, and shared knowledge. As we delve into the remarkable legacy of Johannes Gutenberg, we cannot help but marvel at how his invention, the printing press, laid the groundwork for the information-rich world we live in today. Gutenberg's movable type printing system, first introduced in Mainz, Germany around 1440, heralded a new era of mass communication. This mechanical marvel allowed for the rapid and widespread distribution of ideas, igniting the flames of knowledge and enlightenment. In the digital age, we stand on the shoulders of Gutenberg's ingenuity. The accessibility of information through the internet mirrors the explosion of literacy and learning that the printing press first ignited centuries ago. The media and communication landscape is continuously evolving, drawing from the conceptual bedrock Gutenberg established. Today, we see a world where information can be disseminated globally in an instant, a far cry from the laborious process of hand-copying texts. Moving from printed page to pixel, the ethos of sharing and expanding knowledge remains constant, a testament to Gutenberg's enduring influence on how we learn, share, and connect. The printing press was indeed a precursor to our modern avenues of knowledge sharing. It enabled the first forms of mass media, much like the internet does today. Our contemporary society, with its rapid exchange of information, continuous innovation, and digital communication, is in many ways the realization of the potential that Gutenberg's press presented. As we reflect on the sweeping changes brought about by the printing press, it's clear that Gutenberg's legacy is not just historical. It is deeply ingrained in the fabric of our current societal structures. It reminds us how innovation, rooted in the desire to spread knowledge, can have profound and lasting effects on human civilization. As we draw our journey through the annals of history to a close, let's revisit the pivotal themes we've unwrapped in today's episode. The voice of Johannes Gutenberg echoes through the centuries, a beacon of innovation whose ripple effect continues to be felt across the broad spectrum of society. The invention of the printing press in the mid-15th century catapulted humanity into a new era of information dissemination. Breaking the chains that bound books to the hands of a privileged few, this groundbreaking technology allowed ideas to flow freely and knowledge to become a universal currency. The printing press undeniably stands as the cornerstone of modern literacy, education, and the democratization of knowledge. Reflect, if you will, on a world where the written word is no longer a scarce resource but a plentiful wellspring, a transformation that fueled revolutions, sparked the Renaissance, and ushered in the Age of Enlightenment. Such was the magnitude of Gutenberg's legacy that centuries later we continue to witness the societal shifts birthed by his invention. It's fair to say that every bookshelf, every library, and every classroom owes a debt to the printing press. Now, we turn the page to you, the listener, to ponder the weight of communication innovations in your life. Imagine the myriad ways in which technologies have evolved from movable type to digital bytes, and how this relentless tide of progress shapes our daily existence. It is here in the spirit of reflection that we realize that the story of the printing press is, in fact, our story, a narrative of human ingenuity and the relentless pursuit of spreading wisdom far and wide. In this moment of contemplation, we appreciate the value of such technological leaps forward. As Gutenberg's press has left its indelible mark on history, now we, too, are part of a continuing legacy, the perpetual evolution of how we share and consume information. How will our actions and innovations today be judged by the historians of the future? That remains for us to write. Before we part ways, let me extend an invitation for you to engage with us, to contribute your insights and your curiosities. Imagine the conversations Johannes Gutenberg might have sparked in our digital forums. Share your thoughts, and who knows, your suggestion might become the focus of our next deep dive into the pages of history. With that, we conclude today's exploration. Reflect on the strands we've woven together, the story of a single invention that forever altered the course of our collective narrative. As Gutenberg's creation gave rise to a myriad of voices, it's your participation that continues to write the history we celebrate. Until we meet again, keep the legacy alive and press on in the relentless quest for knowledge. Thank you for joining us on this journey through history on the Daily History Podcast. If you have enjoyed exploring how Gutenberg's printing press changed the world, please subscribe and share your thoughts in the comments below. What historical innovations fascinate you? Leave a suggestion for future episodes. the one with the most likes, might just be our next topic. We value your input and participation greatly. Until next time, keep making history every day.